Hey guys, it's Brendan. Thanks for joining me again on my channel. I am here with Jason. We are over at the Susquehanna Valley Modelers Flying Club field here in beautiful Milton, Pennsylvania. It is a fantastic 20 degrees out today, but there's no wind, so perfect weather. We're going to do the Maiden today on the Pixar Pier theme AL37 Free Wing Motion RC. So go over the plane here with you real quick, give you a view of this field location. You can see I've kind of dressed, you can't miss me, dressed warm for the weather. So I volunteer as a EMT for my local ambulance association, so the coat and stuff that they provide for me is super warm. So on days like this, when it's only 20 degrees out, it works just fantastic. So this field location sits on top of a hill. Fantastic, beautiful overview here. Great day for a Maiden. As I said, no wind. It could be a little warmer, 20 degrees. You'll see some snow still on the ground, but I'll take it. This field location is located, if you've ever heard of it, in Pennsylvania, right next to Knoebels Amusement Park. Also a great place for kids. So cover a couple quick things here with you on the AL. If you haven't seen it yet and you're debating getting one, this is the time. So check this thing out, right? So Free Wing Motion RC AL37 Pixar Pier theme. Today will be the Maiden on this thing. This thing has dual 70mm fans in it, 2150 kV motors, outrunner motors. Thing has lights, top, bottom. In the back of this thing, out on the wings, that all comes factory with it. For you guys that have been following on my channel in the build, thanks again for joining me for today's episode. So since then, we talked about a couple things from Cali. I was waiting on the star for the nose. Couldn't get that decal to wrap very well. So what I did was I laid it on there and outlined it, hand painted that. That turned out cool. That worked out to be in my favor. And then you can't forget the Pixar lamps. So Callie had to shoot those to me. And the last thing are the little aliens on the wingtip. So as my passengers get to view the outside, that's what they get to see. So plane is absolutely incredible for function. I just went over it with Jason. We did the pre-flight, checking all your linkages, check your control surfaces. You don't want those things to be backwards. That would suck, right? So I'm gonna hand this thing over to Jason. We're gonna go ahead and check the retract operation at the bottom. We'll check the fan output and make sure that's all good. Now we're gonna get this thing up in the air to infinity and beyond. So here we go. We're gonna pass that thing over. You can see the underside of this thing, absolutely huge to transport. Brought it in the Explorer and it still had to go up between the seats. So it is a beast to transport. Make sure that you get you know, that thing set up to keep it stable in there. So I am going to go ahead and we'll flip that. Retracts in. It does have a slight delay to it. That's the way it works. Gear folds in, doors smooth over. Absolutely exquisite. We'll flip them back down. Slight delay. Doors open, sequence, landing lights come on. Again, if you follow my lighting mod, the interior cockpit light comes on with that landing light in the front. So, big wheels, couple things that, it's okay.
I don't have a screen.
Yep, no, it's all right.
Okay.
It goes off after a little bit. So, couple things that we're gonna do today, going through this plane. Obviously, we're testing it out in grass. All my fields are grass locations, has big wheels. I expect no problems to it. The other thing, we're going to be testing some batteries today, and I'm going to give you some flight times and percentages to those. So we have the Turnigy Heavy Duty 5000. We have the Roaring Top 5500s, and I also have a Turnigy Graphene 6000. So I want to try one of each. We'll try and put together some flight times, battery percentages, so you guys can kind of judge what batteries you want to go with. And then we're going to talk about some of the flight characteristics here of the AL on the Maiden. So this plane overall, my first impressions, getting it together at the field and just picking it up and feeling it, this thing is absolutely phenomenal. Weight-wise, very low weight compared to the F-14 Tomcat. Dual motor setup in that as well. That plane is very heavy, and the wheels are slightly smaller on that. So I expect this thing to lift off quickly. I typically fly half flaps off of the fields for takeoff. Landing, we'll use half flaps on base, full flaps on final. So I'll talk you guys through that as to what I'm doing throughout the flight. So otherwise, let's get this thing set up. we'll get Jason on the, he's going to be my photographer for today, so hopefully get some just cool overall pictures, and we're going to throw the GoPro on top of the hat and try and get some good flyby footage. So catch up with you again in just a second. All right, guys, here we go. Motion RC, free wing, AL37 Pixar Pier theme, taking off for our Maiden. We're going to take off half flaps, and timer set for 340 up here. We'll see what happens. All right, you know what they say, to infinity and beyond. 3/4 throttle, lift, gear up, flaps up, little rocky. It's really not windy up here, but I noticed in other people's videos too, it bounces around. Feels like I need a good amount of down trim.
Time remaining 3 minutes.
I don't know how well that's going to show up there on the camera, but a little bit of throttle in the turns. About 3/4 throttle right there.
Time remaining 2 minutes.
Yeah, she's a little bouncy. You know, even though we know that we don't feel any wind down here, it's definitely kind of turbulent up there. Again, we'll try and make some slow passes here so you guys can
Take off flaps.
throw some flaps into her and see what happens here. Pass is dirty, man. We'll see what happens. Dirty pass right here. Half flaps, half throttle.
Time remaining 1 minute. Flaps up.
I'm out of up elevator trim. I wish I could have a little bit more. The faster I fly, the more she wants to climb. Maybe it's battery location, I don't know.
30 seconds.
All right, last pass, and we'll throw some gear in it. Man, she's scooting.
Gear down.
Gear down. Half flaps. Timer set again at 340. I want to make sure that I have ample go around battery in case I need it again. So we will do half flaps on base, full flaps
5.
on final.
Landing flaps.
And everyone says we got to keep some throttle in her, so we will see what happens with some throttle here. Don't like it, aborting. I have the factory mix in right now for flaps. I don't know if I like it. Full flaps definitely require some power. I don't want to get it too slow and stall it. She's fast, baby. She's fast. She likes to come in hot. You bring her in hot, she's got some elevator to her. I notice if you slow her down, she don't. And I don't know that more elevator throw is better there. I think I'll take the mix of the elevator all the way out and see what happens. All right, so that was a roaring top 5500, half to maybe some 3/4 throttle. Not super aggressive here with flights. So right now I'm a minute and 30 over, so I'm around 4.5. All right, so let's go ahead and let me grab my meter here and we'll check this battery out. All right, try and position this down here a little bit. So we got 24%. So we go to each cell, 375. So roughly 4.5 at mild throttle, 22%. I think we're perfect. We have a little bit more time there to mess around with. So Maiden's done. Thanks for joining me, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you get to see the footage. I'll check it out later. I'm going to throw some other packs in here and we'll see how she handles. So again, thanks a lot for joining me on the Maiden. If you're thinking about picking this thing up, do it. It's awesome. All right, guys, Brendan again, I'm back. So want to share some information with you. So this is going to be flight number 3 for me on the AL37, just to share a couple tips with you. So first off here, one of my second flights ran the landing a little bit long, trying to dial in my flap elevator mix down on some rough grass. When you want to talk about landing gear holding up on the grass runways, perfect. Not an issue, not even a begin of a bend or a tear out or anything else. So the nerves are out. Got this flight thing dialed in, some landings, takeoffs, they were fantastic. Batteries so far, roaring top 5500s and the Turnigy 5000s wind up having the exact same amount of flight time, pretty much 4.5 minutes from takeoff till landing, and they're down at 22%, so like 372, 375, so very, very comparable. This thing takes a little bit of throttle landing in order to hold it, to keep that stall from happening. The wing surface isn't very wide, so you want to keep about 1/4 throttle coming in. I had my mixes per the book as far as the elevator and flap mix goes. On full flaps, I went down to 3%, and that seems to give me the right amount of mix with the elevator still control at 1/4 throttle. So got my cameraman back there for me. He's going to hit some of the takeoffs. I'm going to try and do some flybys here for you. Have another Turnigy heavy duty 5000 pack in there. Let's take it off back at the other end. Let's do this. This thing just keeps getting better and better. Once you get the nerves out of you, this thing is awesome. It does not need full throttle to take off. 3/4, half flaps here on this grass. Grass isn't like super high because it's winter time and about dead, but thing picks up speed, plenty of power on this thing. So we'll get some nice flyby passes here for you. Try not to get too long of footage. If you could, Jace, just duck down for me. Just a little bit. Right there is perfect. Here we go. Going up. coming over. I'm gonna swing around the other way. I'm gonna come over dirty this time, guys. We're gonna put on the flaps and we're gonna come down over the runway nice and slow.
Landing flaps.
33% power, full flaps, guys. What a climb out.
Time remaining 2 minutes.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and bring this thing in a little early for landing.
Takeoff flaps.
Take off flaps,
Gear down.
gear down. So we're on right now, again, we're on base. Let this thing slow down. Keep about half power in it. We're gonna turn it down here on the final.
Landing flaps.
Landing flaps. Here we go.
Time remaining 1 minute.
Quarter throttle. All right, guys, so there you go. Very predictable install rate, keep a little power, very little mix in the elevator, book rates. Hope you enjoyed it. Again, if you like it, subscribe if you haven't. Catch us on the next project. I'm Brendan. Peace out. Enjoy your flights.